Wow, we're back with a video. Today is a desk job, hopefully an easy one. My apprentice has thrown me another curveball. She had lost her key for the diary, and I intelligently had kept the spare key aside. And she decided she was going to try and pick this lock with a pencil. And we can have a look in the top here if we can see on camera. Let's see if I can get the light just right. You can see the piece of pencil. It's an orange or a red pencil in there. We've got to figure out how to get that out and the lock open. And we might choose a different style of lock for this, I think, in the future, because a bit of a low security, but also these keys are kind of difficult to manufacture and also pick up. At least they would be easy to manufacture if you had a metal stamp. For me, I don't know. I could probably come up with something. In any case, I want to get this pencil lead out. I'm actually not, believe it or not, aware of how the mechanism works in this lock, although I can see there's a spring on this side and there's a latch on that side, and it's probably a really simple mechanism that I could string with a piece of wire. But I'm not interested in that at the moment, given that I've got the key. I want to get this pencil out. I'm going to have a think about some different ideas that might do the job. Now, I had a few solutions that I had considered for this, one of which was heating up a piece of metal and dropping it in and hoping that this wax-based lead, we're going to call it, would melt and then adhere to that stick. Then I thought it could break off. It's going to be a whole bunch of problems. Then I remembered I have this. So I'm going to actually try and just destroy that by drilling this out. And hopefully the pieces will come out. I can get the lock open and then give it a bit of a blowout with an air compressor. Provided this works. So that should be relatively frangible. I need better light though. Let me get my LED ring light. Alright, let's see if this $6 LED ring light helps at all. This should give slightly better lighting. Now we can kind of see what we're doing. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Adjust our camera angle so we can see what we're doing. Well, you guys can see what I'm doing just a little bit better. Okay, we can probably even go a little bit further. There's our piece of pencil lead in there. And we'll try and drill this out. It is moving around a bit in there, but it's also quite soft, which is nice. That is breaking up fairly well. So we can grab this out. Let's come back on zoom a tiny bit. We do have some pieces in there. Have a look. Hopefully this can just crush up and come back out again. Oh, almost coming out. There's most of it by the looks. Okay, let's have a good look in there. I think we've got most of the mechanism clear. Focus is a bit of a difficult thing with this camera at the moment. Let's use the camera, in fact. We have a visitor. Alright, where are we? Alright, I attended to that visitor, and let's see how we go. Put this in, we should be able to open this lock. Just come off, that's good. Now we can take the book away and give this one a good clean out. Now, hopefully we can have a look at the mechanism in here, and I might be able to improvise some sort of lockpick or different key for it. Can we see, with a different color spectrum of light here, what's going on in there? Not much of a keyway in there. Where does this go? I'll inspect closer up and we'll see if we can figure something out. Alright, so I've been doing some learning and I'm trying to find a light angle that works well so that we can see inside this lock. Now, see that little bar right at the bottom there? I can't really point at it, but I've got my shackle open here. I'm going to push that shut. You see how that pops up? That little spring arm, which is right on the bottom here, that pops up, and I'm pretty sure that this simple little key here as that goes in, just pushes that spring arm up and pops it out, because it's very inaccurate where that needs to be. So I suspect that on the key, the only bit that is engaging that pin will be this part of the key here, this little bit on either side of that. I reckon a bent piece of metal would do that. Now, a very common source of easy to bend metal are paper clips. Now, I reckon that if I were to fold this around into a little nub like that, that might be all that's needed to open this lock. So we'll do that. And I trimmed my fingernails yesterday, so I can't pick things up. If I go in the right depth in here, I can probably push down on that knob if I do it right, or that bar. If I can see in here, there we go. That worked. See if we can repeat that again. We'll go down right on that bar and it pops open. So I can improvise a lockpick for when my apprentice loses the spare key. Handy stuff. I'll give this a bit of a spray out with some contact cleaner and maybe a tiny drop of sewing machine oil. See how we go. Now I have a little bit of this circuit board cleaner left. Give it a dose of that down the guts. It's almost empty, so I need to stand the can on level ground to make use of this. So we'll go. We'll do that. Give it a bit of a work around. The mechanism already feels smoother having done that. Hopefully it's washed out the last of the grit from that pencil. Alright, we'll let that evaporate and we'll get some oil onto it. Alright, we've let all that cleaner evaporate off and things feel a tiny bit gritty again. So we're just going to put a single drop on here and let it run down into the mech. Let that wick its way in. And this is just good old Singer sewing machine oil. Right, now we should be able to operate that fairly well. Where's my key? That works pretty well. Okay, so I had another go at a backup key and I went a bit nuts with a solder here and I came up with a solution that works fairly repeatably. So I can pop it out without much effort. There you go. Works in both directions and it works in either orientation too. There you go. Not perfect, but it works as a backup key. Alright, so now I can get into it. We don't know where the other key is. She's lost this one. So I think what I'm going to do is make this a little bit harder to lose. And I have a couple of ideas. Now, I found a couple of key rings laying around. I found a box of these I had spare. I'm going to steal one of these lanyards, I think, and there's a couple of things I want to do with that lanyard. Now, it has a little swivel hook here and I could easily hook it on that. But I know my apprentice, that will not be suitable. It will still get lost. So, I think what I'm going to do is thread the key ring straight through that side and then she can use the lanyard for other stuff too. I'll shove my very short, freshly trimmed thumbnail in the gap here. We'll hook that key in. While it's out, we'll hook it around there as well. Alright, that should prevent, or at least reduce the probability of losing this lock. Otherwise, I'm just going to take some snips to it next time and put a real lock on there. Alright, we have the original diary, which no, we are not going to open and look in. My apprentice does deserve some privacy. Even apparently if it's privacy while wasting an entire roll of toilet paper. But anyhow, go here. Our key does indeed still work. Alright, my apprentice should be happy when she gets home. Oh good. I'll put this back on her desk and I'll move on to bigger things like changing an alternator in the 6-wheel drive ambulance. Anyhow, see you in another one.